Good evening and welcome to the January edition of Pop the Latch training sessions live from the exclusive genetic Janes Gang Ranch here in Orchard, Texas. Jeff Bressler along with Billy Janes. And Billy, behind the chutes we have 9 2013 superstar bulls getting ready to buck for you, and the past superstars, I might say, because they're going to have to prove themselves once again in 2014. And it's been an exciting 2 days here at the ranch. It's going to culminate in just a couple of minutes when you watch these bulls buck, because we've taken our 2-year-olds. Yesterday we bucked 2-year-olds that finished out of the top 25. Today you're going to see some of the 2-year-olds that were in the top 25, including ZY He's Twisted, buck with that dude that we call BUDRO.
Yeah, and you need to correct yourself. 3-year-olds now.
Oh, 3-year-olds. What did I say? 3-year-olds.
As of January 1st.
Hard to believe.
All these bulls are now officially 3 years old. They were all born in 2011. Which made them 2 on January 1st of 2013 and 3 on January 1st of 2014, because in our game, your birthday is always January 1st. And you know, Jeff, the last week has really been a whirlwind around here. Maybe the whole month. You know, we come in and Jerry decides to move back to Oklahoma. Wanda tells us she's retiring.
That's right.
She's not
allowed to do that.
To retire. But don't worry, she'll be here for a while. But and then we start bucking bulls. Last week we bucked 90 2014 $1 million bulls.
You went through a lot, 90 bulls.
And then brought 30 of those back today. So we bucked 122-year-old bulls in less than a week. And kind of picking which ones are going to go in which classes at the upcoming, which we're going to talk about in a minute, the First Champions Tour here in Orchard, Texas, February the 15th. And on February the 14th, we got a Valentine's Day dinner special here for all of our customers. But yesterday, like you said, we took all of our now 3-year-old bulls that are still here at our ranch, still in our training program, and if they didn't make the top 25 or if they were an open bull, we bucked them for the very first time with BUDRO, the 65-pound dummy with legs.
Absolutely. And, you know, BUDRO came on the scene. It was probably, now I think about it, it's probably going back about 3 years. And, you know, BUDRO basically, and we'll show you a picture in just a couple of minutes, is, you know, your standard type of dummy, but the bottom part of the dummy is really like legs. It simulates a cowboy sitting on the bull, even though it's 65 pounds. In the first couple of years with BUDRO, most trainers were trying to figure out exactly, you know, what to do with BUDRO. Is this going to be something that bulls would buck with the entire 3-year-old season? Would they buck part of the season? Would it just be a training tool? And I think you came up with the right solution for BUDRO, in that the BUDRO is serving as a bridge between the 2-year-old dummy and the start of their 3-year-old season until they're mature and ready enough for a cowboy.
Well, you know, last year, you know, I'd been hearing about BUDRO, and we were looking for a solution for, you know, how do we train these bulls, or how do we find something that can stay on these bulls to show them, to see if they're ready for the next level. So we had an event, and we used BUDRO there, and we had a competition, and we found out one thing that BUDRO's not good for the bigger bulls that have already had riders. And because in the past we put riders on them first, we had already put riders on them, then put BUDRO. Some did okay, some didn't do so well. So this year we've got a whole new transition process. We're going to go over that now. You know, these bulls have been bucking with a 25-pound dummy. And that's the dummy you see there on the screen. That's a picture of old Carly there. Stanley's his name. And when these bulls are a year old, they buck with 14-pound dummies when we first start training them. When they compete when they're 2, they buck with a 25-pound dummy. Again, we tell everybody this simulates weight. It doesn't shock them. It doesn't vibrate. It simply simulates weight. And the bigger they get, the more weight they need to be motivated. So a guy came up and invented a dummy called BUDRO. And you see it there on your screen. It's a little hard to see there. It's sitting on that stand, but it's 65 pounds. It's got a little body there, and then it's got legs that really actually wrap and squeeze the bull and hang on. Now, when he's loose, the legs are loose enough that they'll come loose. You'll even see him kind of flopping like he's spurring when he's riding. So what we've decided to do this year, Jeff, is we're not normally in January. We've got riders out here trying to figure out what bulls are, we can buck, and some aren't big enough, some are big enough, the riders don't ride very good, and we don't get to find things out. So this year we decided we're going to take the first quarter of the year and we're going to strictly go with BUDRO with these bulls. We're going to make a transition from 25 pounds to 65 pounds and then go to rider after we've kind of tested these bulls with a little bit more weight on their back.
Yeah, one thing I'm going to miss is each year at the ranch here in January and February, we've held rider jackpots to give these bulls some experience. And, unfortunately, Billy, it's the luck of the draw. In this portion of southeast Texas, we have some really good riders like Neil Holmes and Codrick Murphy, who many of you seen compete in CBR and PBR Touring Pro and PRCA rodeos. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have a lot of kids that have come out here looking for experience. And that, in my estimation, is detrimental to the bulls. We could have a jackpot one week and a rider gets bounced the minute the chute opens, and that's not very helpful to the bull, and that's what we're all about.
Right, and our customers were paying for that to build the pod and not really getting to see anything sometimes. And plus the liability for us here at the ranch, plus taking a whole Saturday, and sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. Problem has been solved now with BUDRO, and I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'll miss the rider events out here and everything, the camaraderie of those, but the new BUDRO class, new BUDRO events is going to be exciting.
All right, we're talking about using the BUDRO as a practice tool, another tool in the arsenal for a bucking bull trainer. And Billy, we're talking about going the first few months with the BUDRO. Of course, we're going to be using the BUDRO here at the ranch during training sessions, but the BUDRO will be evolving at our Champions Tours in 2014.
Yeah, Jeff, we've evolved. We continue to evolve, and we've added, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it tonight, but we've added in our futurity classes, underdog, experience, champions class. We have a Champions Tour finale. Well, we found out last year that our customers really want us to manage and provide a place for their bulls to move on. And in case they're not great enough to go move on against the world, even have a place where they can move on and compete just against $1 million bulls. So what we're going to do this year, every year we have a couple of Champions Tour events. This year we're going to have 2 Champions Tour events, February the 15th here in Orchard, Texas, March the 8th in Locust Grove, Oklahoma, and we've added a class. We're going to have the BUDRO class for just EG $1 million bulls with $1,000 entry fees, and we're projecting that this will pay a $10,000 first place prize just like our other events. So we now will have BUDRO at our Champions Tour events.
All right, so we're talking about 2 Champions Tours, and the way the Champions Tour series is evolving is the same way it happened last year. There was a few Champions Tours, and then you eventually qualified to go on to the Champions Tour finale at the Academy of Country Music, and we're very happy to be going back there for a second consecutive year. So BUDRO 3-year-olds will also be going to the Champions Tour finale, but if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be a transition period right there.
Yeah, actually, what we've done, Jeff, is the BUDRO class at our events is an opportunity for people to take their bulls, pay an entry fee, and just try to win money. Now, I want to make sure everybody understands something out there. Every single event you go to is going to have an entry fee. That's how you get the purse. Some events, very few, but some have what we call a nomination fee, totally different from an entry fee. We've done this in the past for our 2-year-old bulls, and so they pay a nomination fee, and then they try to qualify to come to the Champions Tour finale, which is at the Academy of Country Music in April out in Las Vegas. And, man, they're making some major changes this week. It's going to be really exciting. I hear we might be bucking bulls right up underneath a big Ferris wheel. But anyway, what happened this year we talked about it last week. We came up with this new event called the $1 Million Bull and Rider Tournament. And this thing has really taken the world by storm. We've had a lot of interest about it. Vegas is wanting us to bring it back. So with the new announcement of National Bucking Bull Day being April the 4th there in Las Vegas, Nevada, they wanted a little action. They wanted a little, not just bulls with dummies, they wanted some bulls with the real thing. So we're going to bring a little bit different style to it. It's going to be a little bit different than Vegas, but somewhat the same. We're going to bring 24 bulls and 12 of the greatest bull riders in the world. But let's go back to the nomination fee, because I want to make sure that everybody understands, if you want your BUDRO bull, your bull, to qualify to go out to Vegas to compete in this $1 million bull and rider, because like you said, it's going to be a transition. These bulls are going to buck with a dummy at Champions Tour 1. They're going to buck with a dummy at Champions Tour 2. And then when they go out to Vegas, it's not a BUDRO dummy anymore. It's going to be a rider in the $1 million bull and rider tournament. So there on the screen is what the nomination fees are. If you pay it now, and that's why we're trying to get all these bulls bucked for people so they can make a decision, it's just a $1,000 nomination fee. If you wait till after February and pay it, it's a $2,000 nomination fee. So there's a lot of advantage to paying it. And now here's how it's going to work, Jeff. What we're going to do is we're going to take out there to Vegas to the $1 million bull and rider tournament. Let's get up the guidelines here. Here's the bull format. We're going to take, remember I said we're going to take 24 bulls. We're going to take 12 3-year-old bulls, 12 of these BUDRO bulls. At the first Champions Tour, the best 6 3-year-old bulls will qualify to go to the $1 million bull and rider tournament in Las Vegas during the Academy of Country Music. At the second Champions Tour, the best 6 bulls that did not qualify at the first one will qualify. So that's going to give us 12 bulls. Then we're going to take 12 4- and 5-year-old bulls. In other words, all EG. These are going to be 100% EG bulls, $1 million bulls. So the bulls from 2011 and 2012 crop can fill up the other 12 spots. Now, they're not going to pay a nomination fee, but they're going to have to pay a higher entry fee, which we'll get to in a minute. And we're going to give the bulls that came out to Vegas in December the first right of refusal to take those 12 spots right there. And that would fill up. If they don't take them, then bulls that didn't enter, like I know Larry Barker's got yellow hair out there that didn't enter, and he's anxious to get him entered. Well, bulls like that could enter and fill up the other 12 spots. So we're going to have 12 3-year-old bulls and 12 4- and 5-year-old bulls.
Yeah, and of course, the $1 million Buck and Bull and Rider tournament that took place during the National Finals Rodeo, as Billy James mentioned, just took NFR by storm. And of course, that was won by Aaron Pass, who collected $17,000 and change. On the open end, it was Raging JT. On the EG and Biohazard. And, you know, when you look at Vonnie Nunez, who won with Biohazard, who's been in the futurity end of the business also out of Prather, California, you could see she looked at the bull with the rider on it in a whole different light. It was like a whole other part of the business was opening up for her.
Well, I think these owners, that's what they really, even though they don't say it, that's what they strive to be, as a stock contractor with a bull buck and with a rider on its back. Let's explain how the format's going to work out there, how the bulls are going to win. We're going to bring 24 bulls out there, as we said. We're going to bring 12 3-year-old bulls, 12 4- and 5-year-old bulls. We're going to have 12 riders, and on Friday, we're going to bring the 12 riders out in the arena, and then everybody in the stands will know the 12 3-year-old bulls that are going to buck. We'll auction them off, and the people in the stands will get to pick what rider they want on what bull. This way, the owners that have the smaller bulls can put the smaller riders on their bull. Then those 12 bulls will go, those 12 riders will go. Then later in the day, we're going to bring the 12 riders back in the arena. We'll have the 12 4- and 5-year-old bulls. We'll go through the same process. Then on Saturday, we're going to bring back the 6 bulls that score the best. And here's what's fun about it, Jeff. You don't have to necessarily be the rankest bull. As we saw with Stunting Like My Daddy, you can be 2 ranked for this format right here. The way the bulls are scored is their bull score plus their ride time. So they want to get a rider that really shows their bull 5, 6, 8 seconds so they can get a high score. Then on Saturday, we're going to bring the best 6 bulls back, and we'll bring the best 4 riders back. The 4 riders will go, 1 will go against 4, 2 will go against 3, and then whoever wins those 2 brackets, they'll go again against the top 2 bulls. But all 6 bulls start with 0 the second day. And look at this payout for the bulls on the 6 bulls. Every bull, 6 out of the 24 bulls are going to win a nice paycheck right here. That's 1/4 of the bulls, 25% of the bulls, and they're all EG bulls. First place is $25,000, second place is $15,000, third and fourth is going to win $7,500, and fifth and sixth will win $4,000. You might say, well, what's their entry fees there? Well, their entry fees, if they qualify, if they're a 3-year-old bull, remember, if they got in early, they paid a $1,000 nomination fee. If they got in late, a $2,000, so they're paying a total of $4,500. If they're a 4 or 5-year-old bull, they pay $1,000 more because they didn't have to pay a nomination fee, and they just get in, so they pay $3,500. Again, this is how we build the pot. I'm excited to see which of these bulls are going to step up and which of these bulls we're going to get to see out there in Vegas.
All right. With that said, we've been talking about BUDRO. I'm sure there's a lot of people watching that have never seen BUDRO, so let's just give you a little taste of what BUDRO is all about. Yesterday, as we mentioned here at the ranch, we bucked 25 bulls that did not make it into the $1 million Buck and Bull Championship finals. So let's take a look at a couple of those bulls now and go over their 2-year-old season, Billy, and how they did with the BUDRO for the first time in their 3-year-old life.
We're going to start with 2 bulls that did really well in the Second Chance Championship. They didn't even make the top 25, but they both placed in the Second Chance Championship. This bull I'm going to show y'all first, his name's Pull My Fingers. This bull is ready for a cowboy right now. Look how big this bull is when he comes out. But look at that. Whoops. We'll show it again here. Watch the kick of this bull. An extension and turn back right there. The dummy kind of slipped on him, but look how big that bull is. He's ready. I told Bob Wisnat, who owns part of him, I said, you could put that bull on he's got a CBR bull team this weekend in Jackson, Tennessee. And he said, I promise you, if I make the finals in Cheyenne this year, you're going to see Pull My Finger there. I mean, he looks just like he did out there. One jump, kick, and turn back. Looks really, really good. I'm looking forward to the future of Pull My Finger. All right, let's look at the bull that won the $50,000 the Second Chance Championship, a bull named Stanley. The bull that we've all been high on here, just waiting for him to put it all together. Look at this bull, and he is getting it on and flips BUDRO right out of there. Let's watch him again. Look at the kick, look at the drift and intensity. Now that's a bucking bull right there. There's a bull you're going to see when he grows up probably win at the Classics, even against all the open bulls out there. Boy, that bull was special right there. But probably the one that stole all of our hearts yesterday and did all year long is our open bull named Cardinal. Watch this boy buck. Watch him get in there. Watch this. Whoa!
Man, old Cardinal winning the Gold Buckle Challenge as a 2-year-old, anchored the 3-year-old a 2-year-old EFL team this year. Won the Gold Buckle Challenge as a yearling. Had just a great futurity years as a 2-year-old, and man, he's a little bull, but he looks like he's got tremendous promise as a 3-year-old.
You know what's exciting about Cardinal? He's not a $1 million futurity bull, but Brad Bays did some flushing and has got 4 full brothers of Cardinals due to be born any day now that will be certified for the $1 million futurity in 2016. I told Brad, I said, that's his first and last time with BUDRO right there. We're just going to put 200 or 300 pounds on him, and you're going to see him at the Bring Your Own Rider events right there. So, man, does he look good, though, right there. He could have been in the high 80s or maybe even 90. Well, Jeff, let's go see which of these bulls are going to do like Cardinal.
And as we mentioned, the bulls that we're going to be looking at this evening, all in the top 25 of the $1 million Buck and Bull Championship, including the great ZY He's Twisted, the 2013 $1 million Buck and Bull champion, winner of $500,000. So as we make the transition here and as Billy heads over to the arena, we're going to be taking a look at some of the other bulls that bucked with the BUDRO on their backs. Yesterday here at the ranch. Billy headed over to the arena. I also want to mention to you, it's been closed for quite a while, but the sale ring is opened once again on the Exclusive Genetics website, www.exclusivegenetics.com. And man, do we have a great bull up for sale this week. This bull is named Big TITO. He finished 5th in the 2013 Gold Buckle Challenge back at the National Finals Rodeo. How did he get that name, Big TITO? Well, he is owned by Terry Francona, the manager of the Cleveland Indians, past manager of the Boston Red Sox. Named the bull after his father, the great baseball player Tito Francona. And, the question comes to mind, why is Terry Francona selling Big TITO Well, Terry took a look at the futurity schedule for 2014 and realized that the vast majority of events take place during the baseball season, and being the kind of competitive guy Terry Francona is, he couldn't just hear from Billy via text or phone call how his bull did, so he only wanted to be there in person, an impossible thing, obviously, to do. So he's put Big Tito up in the sale ring. This bull, once again, 5th place finisher at the 2013 Go Buckle Challenge up in the sale ring now. Terry Francona was so convinced that this bull was going to do well, he's already paid into the Champions Tour finale. So when you're done watching us here on exclusive Genetic TV, EGTV tonight, pop the latch, go over to the sale ring, and learn more about Big Tito.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
We're going to get started with the number 2 bull last year, $100,000 winner right here, Painkiller. I'm telling you, this bull, I'm just looking at him right here. He's ready for a rider. He's big, looks good. Handled so far, he's really handling BUDRO well on him. The legs are around him. He's acted up a little bit, but he do that with a rider sticking spurs in him too. These bulls are really doing. I was really impressed yesterday, Jeff, how well the bulls did. None of them really fought BUDRO very much, which is the big concern when you take them to a rider event. Is are they going to sit there for the riders and do well? I think we're having a little problems here.
Painkiller, owned by our pharmacist customer, Amy West, out of Oklahoma. Son of Little Yellow Jacket, who's your mama. The dam on Painkiller, as Billy mentioned, finishing 2nd in the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship, $100,000 to the positive for Amy West. And in just a moment, we'll take a look at Painkiller as he gets ready for his 3-year-old season, first trip with BUDRO on his back.
You know, Jeff, this bull was he was a big surprise to everybody except Dennis Davis. Dennis picked this bull to go out there and shock everybody, and he was the high mark bull in the first round. He won the first round and finished 2nd in the second round. You know, actually, if the bull scores would have been added together, I think this bull would have won it. I never even have looked at that, but that's not the way it works, so it doesn't matter. They all start with 0 in top 10. But this bull was really solid both days. Both days scored up there in the 88s. And I'm looking forward to this bull as a rider bull because I think he's going to really be good. He's the kind the riders like. He kicks right out of here. He should turn back right here to the left. Right here to the right. And should have a lot of kick, a lot of rhythm, a lot of buck. He's definitely a bull the riders can be in the high 80s and the high 90s. Just having a little bit of trouble getting him all strapped down, but we're about to get him now. They got the dummy on. Dennis is tying the flank in, and we're fixing to buck a bull here.
So Painkiller is going to be the first BUDRO bull out today. Once again, you get the name Painkiller, Amy West, a pharmacist, so you could put 2 and 2 together there and see what a bull was named Painkiller. Also great to see somebody like Amy West finishing 2nd. Let's take a look at Painkiller. Yeah. Nice trip. First trip with BUDRO for Painkiller.
I'm telling you, that bull right there, that could have been a 90-point ride. I mean, you got to see, and that's what I like about BUDRO. It tests these bulls as long as we want them to. He rode him a good 5-6 seconds. That bull could go to CBRs, PBRs, PRCA rodeos right now today, and he's a 3-year-old. You let that bull get big and strong like that and have that whip and kick and turn back. Hey, Amy West, your journey just continues and just is going to get better and more fun now as he continues to go. But I guarantee you, if she pays the nomination fee, which I know she's going to, I'm pretty sure you're going to see Painkiller at the Academy of Country Music Awards in April.
What's pretty amazing, Billy, is a lot of people think that exclusive genetics is a rich man or rich woman's program, and when we look at the 2013 $1 million Buck and Bull Championship, both ZY He's Twisted, who finished on top, and Painkiller, who finished second, both those bulls owned by basically middle-class folks who are not super wealthy, didn't come into our program owning 5 or 10 bulls, but have seen tremendous success. Don't forget, we have a number up on your screen. You could text in any questions you might have about BUDRO, about any of the events that we're discussing tonight. It's 956 874-8093, 956-874-8093. Text in any questions you might have about any of the exclusive genetics programs or a training question for Billy Janes. Who's next up, Billy? Next bull up is Backdraft. Backdraft owned by Dan and Tina Cox out of Elgin, Illinois. Son of Houdini. Dippin' Sal is the cow. 12th place finish in the 2013 $1 million Buck and Bull Championship. $12,500 for that 12th place finish. And Billy, Backdraft won the first Champions Tour as a 2-year-old in 2013 in Hamilton, Texas. But he was on pretty much of a roller coaster ride this past season. He had some great outs and some not so great outs.
You know, this bull was probably, there were several bulls that was a disappointment there. But this is probably one of the biggest disappointments as far as thinking he was going to finish really high. Him and Who's Special really were big-time upset. This bull bucked out there. He just got hung up in the chute. He tried to turn back so close, then he had to clear himself, and then he was right back to left, and he wasted too much time. And then he was still only about a point out of making the top 10. I think he finished 13th or 14th.
12th place
this bull's the opposite Jeff of Painkiller. Now, this bull's small, so he's a bull they're going to have to wait a little bit longer on. Where Painkiller could go to bull ridings now, this will be a bull that if he makes that Champions Tour finale, you're going to want to be there to bid to put one of them small guys like Aaron Pass or Josh Barentine or one of them guys on your bull and make sure someone like a Spider-Man don't get him. We're about ready to go here.
All right, so second bull out, Backdraft. Whoop. Whoa. Backdraft getting a little bit hung up with that BUDRO on him, finally shakes it loose. So Backdraft, some good kick and good spin there, and Backdraft looks like he's earned a new lease on life once again. Didn't do that well, finishing a disappointing 12th for him in the $1 million Buck and Bull Championship, but getting off to a good start with BUDRO on his back.
You know, Jeff, these dummies can be so scary sometimes because things you never think about can go wrong. I mean, that bull, it got hung in his neck, and it freaked him out, and he ran into that fence over there and could have broke his neck doing that. And then after he come off that fence, and it still hung up, and you know, we were panicking back here trying to get ready to let him in the back, and then finally he kicked it loose. And hopefully he didn't tear it up and ruin our BUDRO night bucking. Now what the guys are going to do, they're going to take it back there and try to get it all ready. I'm going to walk over there, and we're going to talk about a few other things. But, man, these bulls, they look like true top 25 bulls right there. The only thing Backdraft did wrong there was, you know, when he first come around, he kind of stumbled and fell down, but he got right up and bucked hard. Dan Cox from Illinois, I think you got you a good cowboy bull, too.
Billy, you know, we just put up the text number for folks to text in questions, and we already have some questions. So the first one, let's go into this first before we go and perhaps talk about the younger bulls in the Champions Tour. One question that was just sent in is, do you think the same bulls that were in the top 25 will also prove to be the best cowboy bulls? So is there any correlation between really good 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds when they finally have a BUDRO or a rider on their back?
You know, saying they're going to be the best is kind of a subjective question. It's a relative question. When you say the best compared to what? Do I think that's the best 5 bulls that scored the top 5 at the $1 million for 2, which was Z-Wise, Twisted, Painkiller. I don't remember off the top of my head. And then down their ways was Who's Special and Backdraft. But It's Snot for Dinner was the 3rd highest. And then there was another one up there in the top 10.
And Dangerous Doug was in the top 10. He had a 7th place finish.
Right. And I think that all these bulls, they didn't get in the top 20, 25 by accident. I mean, we go through 300 bulls and we get down to 25, and then we have a wild card. I mean, these bulls are going to be good bulls. Now, what's going to separate these bulls is rider bulls versus futurity bulls is you just saw a good example of 2 bulls. If you ask me, do I think Painkiller, who finished number 2, could also be one of the best 2 bulls, I'm going to say yes. And the reason I'm going to say yes, he's bred right, he's big, and a lot of them type bulls don't end up being good futurity bulls, but he did. He stayed, he peaked right, he had intensity, he didn't get bucked a whole lot with that dummy, so he never lost it, and now he's big and stout, and he's going to start getting riders on his back. The next bull, Backdraft, who I thought could possibly win the $1 million Bucking Bull Championship. I even thought that he would definitely be a top 5 bull, and it just didn't go right out there. I would have to say, no, I don't think. Again, this is early on assessment. Dan, don't get mad at me. I'm just being honest. The only reason I say no is I just don't know if the bull will ever get big and strong enough to really be able to throw them great cowboys off. There's been some great little bulls. Blueberry Wine, Babyface, we could go on and on. But most of the time, the littler bulls don't go on to be the great bulls. So although I think Backdraft, as you just seen, is going to be a great bull, a great cowboy bull, he's going to turn back and buck, I'm just not sure if he finishes as the 5th best bull out of our bulls out there, will he be the 5th best bull? I'd have to say probably not.
All right, another question. Somebody watching the back end of the bull instead of the BUDRO on the front end. The question that came in is, how does the flank come off the bull automatically?
That's a very good question. And actually, at this age, they quit having the flank come off of them automatically because when it's a rider, you can't take the chance that the flank comes off earlier. But because we still have a dummy, in theory, with BUDRO, what we do is we tie a false knot, create a false knot in the flank when we tie it, and we put a pin right through it. And we tie that pin to the dummy, and when the dummy comes off, it pulls the pin out, and then that knot slips through the ring, and the flank just falls off.
And we have one more question. Once again, you could text questions into 956-874-8093. And the final question we have, Billy, is obviously somebody that's working on their entry forms currently. And they ask, can you explain again how these bulls get qualified to compete at the Champions Tour finale? And I think this is in relation to the 3-year-olds we're seeing.
Yeah, in case you just come in late or was watching, keep in mind now, you have entry fee and you have nomination fee. So you don't have to try to go to the Academy of Country Music, the Champions Tour finale. You can still go to our Champions Tours and you still pay $1,000 per event to compete. That's an entry fee so that you can win money. If you want to go to the Champions Tour finale at the Academy of Country Music, where we're having National Bucking Bull Day in Las Vegas in April, you have to pay a nomination fee of $1,000 if it's paid before February 1st, $2,000 if it's paid after February 1st. Then you have to be one of the best 6 bulls at either Champions Tour 1 or Champions Tour 2. 12 of these 3-year-old bulls, like you're watching tonight, will qualify to compete at our $1 million Bucking Bull and Rider tournament. They're only going to you're going to see most of these bulls because they're ready. They're going to get on, BUDRO's going to get on them tonight. These bulls don't need practice. They're good. BUDRO's going to get on them at Champions Tour 1. BUDRO's going to get on them in Champions Tour 2. Then it's on to riders from that point on, Jeff.
All right, so some good questions there, Billy, and we'll see if we get another little break. I see some more questions are being texted in, so we'll try to get to them in a little while.
We'll buck a few and then answer a few questions. Okay. Y'all just, maybe in between bulls, you can announce the questions to me.
Okay. So we're getting ready to go over to the left-hand delivery side and buck the remainder of our bulls. Coming up tonight not specifically in this order. We've gone through Painkiller and Backdraft. We're all going to take a look at ZY He's Twisted, Who's Special, Milo Jean, Hujo, Jackrabbit, Dangerous Doug, and It's Not for Dinner. All these
Jeff,
bulls. Yes, sir.
This next bull that's coming in, we didn't actually train. This is Dangerous Doug, but he is out of one of our great cows, Who's Spot, who's also the mother to Change Up, who's been a great CBR bull, team bull on Brad Bays' team. Well, they Greg Marty Thomas put him up for sale at the event. Brad Bays bought him and says, hey, I think this bull can be a great bull team bull. I think he can step in and replace Change Up either this year or next year. So here he is. We're fixing to see him for the first time ourselves as trainers in the chute. I'm a little bit nervous about this bull with BUDRO because he's a little high-strung, and I watched him out there with Ivan and them, Ivan Stoltzfus and his son Darren training him, and this bull really, really walked a lot in the back pins and fought the chute some. So we're fixing to bring him in and see how he does with BUDRO.
So BUDRO, once again, purchased right after the $1 million Buck and Bull Championship and the sale that we had. Brad and Jamie Bays out of Breckenridge, Colorado, purchased the bull from Greg and Marty Thomas. As Billy James mentioned, bull was trained by Ivan Stoltzfus and his son-in-law, Darren Yoder. Of course, Ivan had just tremendous success this year, Ivan and Darren with their great bull, Amigo 2. So next bull up, Dangerous Doug, 7th place finish in the 2013 $1 million Buck and Bull Championship, $22,000 check for that 7th place finish. And Billy James, as well as Brad Bays, pretty high on this bull and how they feel he's going to evolve as a 3-year-old Buck and Bull and that Cowboy bull eventually.
You know, Jeff, when people get bull team bulls, what they look for is a bull that bucks hard but has some rhythm. They want a bull that really kicks good, not a bull that's really fast and gets out there, gets out fast and spins real fast. They want a bull that's really blowing and kicking hard that a rider can get some timing with and score high points. That's what this bull does. If he does what he did at the finals, we're going to open the gate right here. And he's going to kick one jump and spin right here to the left and just get in a spin and stay in it the whole time and should be really good.
Big difference here also for guys up behind the chutes for Dennis Davis. A little different handling a 65-pound dummy over a 25-pound dummy. Getting ready here for Dangerous Doug coming up next.
So far, Doug's doing pretty good. He looks just more amped up and ready to go more than anything. I know Brad Bays is watching, and I know he probably wants us to show Cardinal Buck another 15 or 20 times. We're fixing to show you one, Brad. I think you're going to be happy you picked up right here.
Another question that, if we have a minute for a question, Billy, or are we getting ready to buck here? We're getting ready to buck. We got another question that was texted in, so
what's wrong with
we'll go to that perhaps after we see Dangerous Doug's trip here. Once again, go to the sale ring when you're done watching Pop the Latch and take a look at Big Tito. Here's a bull that should go a long way on the road to the 2014 $1 million Buck and Bull Championship, top 5 finisher, and the Gold Buckle Challenge being offered for sale by Terry Francona.
One thing about old BUDRO, he don't get nervous. Here we go.
Turned the way you expected him to turn, a little flat there. That was Dangerous Doug, his first trip with BUDRO.
Yeah, these bulls, Jeff, like I'm telling you, it's no accident they were in the top 25. Now, that bull had, you know, if you compare that bull to Painkiller, you see why Painkiller was second and that bull was 7th. Painkiller was kicking harder, he was a little bit faster, and he was drifting. This bull had a little less kick and didn't have the drift, though he was making rounds. But both of those bulls are going to be bulls that Cowboys just love to get on, that we're bringing up here through the exclusive genetics program.
That other question that we got, Billy, on the text, indeed does involve cowboys. And the question was, who gets invited? The question was both in reference to 2013 $1 million Bull and Rider tournament as well as this year. How do cowboys get invited to those events? And this might have been coming from a cowboy who wanted an invite.
That's a good question, and I get to decide. No, seriously, just like out there, I mean, this is something the guys want to come to, and I want good riders there, so I go out to the better riders of the CBR, PBR, and the open guys I know that can ride. I want guys that are going to do what they say they're going to do. They're going to try hard. And to be quite honest with you, Jeff, for this event, I'm going to invite the smaller riders because we're going to have some of these smaller bulls there. Doesn't mean there won't be one or two bigger riders there, but there's going to be some bigger bulls like Painkiller and Pull My Finger that can handle that. For the most part, I'm really going to go after those 130, 40-pound guys that are short and ride good to show these bulls off, but I promise you it'll be good bull riders.
Yeah, speaking of good bull riders, the winner of the 2013 $1 million Buck and Bull and Rider tournament, $17,500 winner was Aaron Pass out of Kaufman, Texas. Current point leader in the CBR. Also want to take the opportunity to congratulate Aaron, who just a couple of weeks ago won the Texas Circuit Final, and he'll be going on to the Ram Circuit Championships in Oklahoma City.
So really, to answer that question, Jeff, it's by invitation only, and I get to invite them. Who's special?
Who's special coming up next? Who's special, owned by two pair of bucking bulls out of Alberta, Canada, Houdini Moody Gal. Billy, very disappointing 11th place finish for Who's Special, who everybody really touted as one of the top 3 or 4 bulls to go to the championship, finished 11th, $12,500. Bull earlier in the season was co-champion with Going Postal at the 2013 Buck Day and Barbecue Invitational.
Jeff, this bull's appropriately. He's special, and I went out there, and I'll tell everybody, and I'll say everything again. If this bull has his day, that's the big if, he's the champion. But we also knew he could go out there and go out there a ways, and not have his day. And so he decided, he kind of hipped himself leaving there at the finals, knocked him off his game. He goes about 4 seconds before he turns back, 3 or 4 seconds, only has a second or two to really show his stuff, and finishes in 11th place, 1/4 of a point away from getting to come back and see if he could overtake the whole pack. But this bull is special, but like we talked about earlier, the thing, this bull's going to have a hard time. He's on both sides. He goes back to littler bulls. Houdini on the top, Moody Blues on the bottom. Both world champion bull, or one world champion PBR bull and one world champion breeding bull right there. This bull is special. I don't know that it'll ever get big enough to be like a great PBR bull. We're only going to know that in time. But he's going to be good enough for this BUDRO event, and he's going to be good enough for the Bring Your Own Rider 3-year-old events. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does here with this dummy.
So once again, coming up next, Who's Special? 2 pair of bucking bulls. Syndicate of Partners, headed by Gary Forshey. Gary Forshey, of course, in 2012 had the great bull that's become a great rider bull, Under Par, finishing second in the $1 million Bucking Bull Championship with a check for $100,000. Man, a lot of weight on that little bull, but he looked like he still had a 25-pound dummy on his back.
I know Gary Forshey's watching this tonight just sick as a dog right there, because that's the trip we needed. That's the trip we didn't get out there in Vegas right there. That's a superstar little young bull. You can't find a bull that intense, that kicks that hard and can still spin as fast as he do. Usually bulls can do one or the other, spin fast or kick hard. That bull can kick hard and spin fast, which is just very, very rare when you find a bull that can do that right there. that bull is, if we can just get him big, he's going to be a superstar.
Yeah, we got another question, and Billy, that just came in a couple of minutes ago, and that really was on the Champions Tours, mentioning that the first Champions Tour taking place here at the ranch in February. You've come up with a number of different classes that you might want to discuss, and the question really related to, since there are a number of different classes, how many bulls should be entered in each class? Because we're not looking at 40 or 50 bulls in just one Champions Tour class anymore.
Well, actually, Jeff, I think we will get 40 or 50 bulls in each class. I look to have, now keep in mind, we have the underdog class, which is for bulls that's never scored 84 or higher, but they have to have entered an event. In other words, they would have had to enter the gold buckle. A bull can't just enter here and say, I want to enter the underdog class and go against the bulls that aren't scoring as high right now. So a lot of them bulls have to enter the champions class. Then you have your bulls that want to enter the champions class. Then you have bulls that can enter the underdog class that also want to enter the champions class, so they're going to enter both classes. I really look to have 50, 60 bulls, because one of the big things that we've added this year, Jeff, and we should announce this for people listening, the champion of each Champions Tour, the champion of each Champions Tour class at the two events gets a bye to Vegas. They don't have to go to the preliminary. They don't have to go to the wild card. If they win a championship here, a championship in Sycamore Springs, or a Champions Tour at the Champions Tour finale, they win the Champions class. Any of those three events, they're into the finals. So I know there's a lot of people that haven't come to these events in the past that's going to be loading their trailers and coming here to Orchard in February. So to answer the question, if I had to guess right now, I'm going to say we're going to get about 50 in the champions class and about 50 in the underdog class. And then we have the experience class. If you don't think your bull's ready to compete, but you want to get him classified so that in the future he can go into the underdog class, you can pay just $250, buck your bull. He helps pay the expenses of the event. He gets judged by the judges. He gets a score. Now, it could backfire on you. You could put him in that and he scores 84 or higher. Then now you have to enter the champions class in the future. But you could enter that if you think, hey, I really know I just got an 82 or 83 point bull and I can't enter the underdog, but I don't want to spend the $1,000 to get in the champions class. I'll pay the $250 to go in the experience. I'll get my score of 80, 82, 83. Then now I'm eligible at Champions Tour 2 to enter the underdog, and I'm also eligible to go to the Champions Tour finale in the underdog class, because a lot of people don't realize it. Of all those nomination fees, and we've already had well over $40,000 worth of nomination fees, 75% of that money goes to the champions class, 25% of that money goes to the underdog class added money. So you could enter here, get this, Jeff, you could pay your nomination fee for Champions Tour finale, enter here in the experience class, pay $250, only score an 80. Now you're eligible to go to Las Vegas and compete in the underdog class to try to win $10,000 and go against just bulls that's never scored 84 or higher. So it becomes a strategy. What we've done is classified these bulls with people that get those mediocre bulls. If they play their cards right, they can win big too, because they can go in a class where they're not going against the Who specials and the Latch Jans and those and the ZY's Twisteds and the backdrafts that's winning every time. They're going against that later bull. And then I had a lady ask me this week, well, if I do that, does that eliminate me from being able to go to the preliminary and being able to go to the $1 million Bucking Bull Championship? And the answer is absolutely not. It's almost like there's two seasons, Jeff. There's our Champions Tour season, and once the finale's over, it doesn't matter. Everybody starts at zero again. Everybody comes. There is no underdog class. There is no champions class. When you come to the preliminary, everybody goes against everybody, and the best 20 bulls qualify to go out to Vegas. Then we're going to have the best 3 bulls from these events, and then the 2 bulls at the wild card. So that's how we'll get our 25 bulls this year. So just because you enter underdog early in the year, if your bull peaks late and goes from being an 83-point bull to an 87-point bull, much like we saw Painkiller do at the end of last year, he could have been, an underdog bull early in the year, and now he goes to being an 88-point bull late in the year and wins $100,000. So I hope that answers y'all's questions. You can always read on our website or email or text us. We're going to bring in probably the biggest disappointment at the $1 Million Futurity. A bull that was really peaking late and really looked like he was doing good, old Hujo. And then out there, I don't know what happened to this bull. The gate opened, and he just took off run into the fence over there. I think the bright lights of Las Vegas got to him. This is his first trip since there, and I'm looking for him to be his old self and just turn back right here and buck.
So Hujo coming up next, owned by the Naylor boys, Gary and Wayne Naylor out of Salemburg, North Carolina. Houdini's sister Willie, as Billy mentioned, disappointment going out to Las Vegas, bull finishing 25th, collecting a paycheck of $7,500. But this was a bull that came on late, and as Billy mentioned, we had a lot of hope that Hujo would go a long way in the championships, and that was not to be. But once the calendar turned to January 1st, fresh season for Hujo as a 3-year-old, and we'll see how that journey begins to unfold tonight as we put BUDRO on Hujo.
Just the Naylor brothers, Jeff, out there in Vegas, they had a pretty good attitude about it all. They said, hey, with all these second chance championships and under, they said, do you think you could have a class when you get back to the ranch for all the bulls that didn't buck? Let them pay an entry fee and just go against each other to see who'll buck when they get back home.
Yeah, I just want to mention, Billy, the experience class, which really was a tremendous success when we did it out in Breckenridge for the first time, just giving bulls the opportunity to buck for experience. A lot of the bulls that we're going to see at the First Champions Tour in the past, Billy, these bulls never had the chance to compete against each other in a competitive arena with a crowd. And what I learned at the experiences that we had last season, doesn't make a difference to a lot of people whether the bull is ready to win the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship or if he's just not there yet or doesn't look like he'll ever get there. It's just the idea that folks have the opportunity to see their bulls compete in a competitive environment.
The bulls was clanging and banging. I didn't hear all that, but I think basically you were saying, the experience class of people. What we've learned, Jeff, is that people want to go. They want to give their bull a chance to go, and we're trying to come up with these different classes that gives people a chance to go at a cheaper rate or a chance to go and know they're competing against bulls that haven't already beat them 5 or 6. Even though that bull might not beat them this time, a lot of people just like to know that they're going to have a chance, and we like to know that different people are going to win. And by creating a class that nobody's ever won in before, you're going to have some new winners that way.
Good way to collect bragging rights, even though there's not a payout for that. Scores are still being kept, and when it comes to the end of the experience, even though we don't consider a bull finishing first, I think our customers certainly did at the experiences. So Hujo getting ready, next bull up. Yeah, Hujo, once he regained his footing, get into a good pattern there.
Hujo had that fallacy early in the year, and the Naylors almost got frustrated with him that he'd fall down like that. But this is just a new dummy, a new experience for him, new weight. What I liked about him is he was his old self. Whatever the high altitude, the mountains, the cold, something got to him in Vegas, but he left here to buck. He was going to turn back right in the gate to the left, and he fell down. Then once he gets up, he goes, okay, well, that didn't work. I'm going to go one jump, and I'm going to spin to the right. I mean, the bull's got buck on his mind. He's going to be fine. He's going to be a good cowboy bull. The only thing that may hold the bull back some is size, but he is going to be a bigger Houdini son, where some of the Houdinis don't get so big. Some do if they're bred with the right cow, like we saw Pull My Fingers, a Houdini son that's already bigger than any bull here. So, all these bulls, what I'm excited about is they're all bucking. We knew they would, but we're just getting confirmation of it.
Yeah, that's probably the first bull that we saw buck Billy James where, he had a dummy placed on his back and the gate open, and you could almost tell that Hujo sensed, hey, man, this isn't what's normally on my back, and he did get a little flustered at first, and I think that's what knocked him off his feet. And like you said, once he got up, and he didn't miss a beat and got right into a nice pattern.
Well, Jeff, we're all kind of taking a deep breath back here. Next coming in the chute here is our $500,000 winner, but we're not taking a deep breath because of that. I think we're all wondering if we're going to be able to get BUDRO on him and conquer this. It's old ZY, he's twisted, he's amped up back here, ready to come in. The guys are getting the dummy, they're getting him a good drink of water, getting refreshed, and we're going to bring ZY, he's twisted in, and we're going to get him bucked.
So coming up next, the 2013 $1 million Buck and Bull Championship, $500,000 check, ZY, he's twisted, owned by Leap of Faith Buck and Bulls, LaDonna Connors, 2J Buck and Bulls, and Chris Allen, son of Houdini, Twisted Lady, winner of the 2013 Orchard Champions Tour, and co-winner of the Champions Tour finale that took place during the Academy of Country Music in Las Vegas last year. And of course, we allude to the fact that ZY, he's twisted, is a little twisted. He's an unpredictable kind of bull. Did his thing in Las Vegas when he had to, and behaved well in the chute, and that certainly paid off as he won the championship. Putting old BUDRO on him, and hopefully all will go well, and we'll see a great performance out of ZY, he's twisted.
Yeah, I know, I guarantee Michelle Simpson's watching, and I'm pretty sure Jimmy James is watching, and probably the other owners, LaDonna Connors and Chris Allen too. But this bull looks good, Jeff. I mean, this bull was lanky all year. He never really got filled out. He just always looked raunchy, He's getting a good back on him. He looks strong. He looks like he could take a cowboy right now. I don't know if a cowboy could take him or not, but I mean, he's looking good. I'm really liking the way this bull is filling out right here. He could be a bull that later this year goes on to ABBI Classics and kind of like we did with Stunting Like My Daddy late in the year last year and getting qualified for the ABBI Finals where he has a shot at that $200,000. Well, the flank's on, and here we go with BUDRO.
So everybody, as Billy James mentioned, sort of holding their collective breaths here. ZY being his usual antsy self in the chute. Billy James working to calm him down there on the back end. Dennis Davis going to try to apply to BUDRO momentarily. I've seen ZY, he's twisted, do this in his 2-year-old year where he just frets so much in the box and gets a little crazed, and that just sort of wears him down. So try to get him settled down so he doesn't expend all his energy in the box here. So I want to mention that next Tuesday, we do 3 different programs each month. First Tuesday of the month is E.G. Dirt, which we broadcast from our new studios here at the Exclusive Genetics Jane's Gang Ranch, and that really takes a look at past results, news and notes of everything that's E.G. and Jane's Gang. Second week, as you see right now, Pop the Latch, where we buck bulls live over E.G. TV. Third week of the month is E.G. Radio over Block Talk Radio Network. That'll be coming your way next Tuesday, 7 o'clock Central Time. Just go on the Exclusive Genetic website, and you'll see the access to get into the broadcast. If you go on Facebook, we embed the broadcast right into Facebook, so you could hear it right off the computer via Facebook. That's E.G. Radio next week, our third program of the month. Billy working on head of ZY there, try to keep him a little distracted. Dennis Davis working hard there to get the BUDRO in place. Good team effort between Billy James, Sergio, and Dennis Davis to get ZY ready for his first trip with BUDRO. Nice night here in southeast Texas. Went through that terrible cold spell, as most of the country did, for several days last week, just about at freezing or a little below freezing here in Orchard, Texas. Certainly unusual when it ever goes below freezing in this part of Texas, but last few days been really nice during the day, right up in the upper 60s, low 70s. Really nice, pleasant night, although Kara Hiles up here in the announcer's booth freezing. Should have brought a sweatshirt. You could hear ZY getting a little ornery now in the chute. Just a huge amount of work going into getting ZY He's Twisted prepared for the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship. All during the season, the training staff out here at the ranch has just worked tirelessly on this bull, literally day in and day out, to try to settle ZY He's Twisted down in the chute and just get his manners in general in the back pens and the alleys leading up to the chutes into a proper frame to be competitive, not expend all his energy. Just looking to pull up that girth as Sergio working the hook. Still got ZY He's Twisted to go. Milo Jan, Jackrabbit, and it's Snot for Dinner. So plenty of buck and bull action with BUDRO still coming your way. Looking good, getting ready to go here. I know Michelle Simpson pacing the floor in her home right now. And again, you could see how much work the training staff here at the Janes Gang puts into ZY He's Twisted. We're getting ready to open the gate. As soon as he settles down, we're going to pull it. Gate's open. Old ZY He's Twisted.
I tell you what, Jeff, for all the work it took, he was phenomenal right there. He looked like a $500,000 winner, and he was war smooth out. I mean, I had to tie his head up against the back of the chute right here, and he was fighting it like crazy. But I mean, he usually goes to the left, and he blows up as high as the chutes, about kicks us on the back, and turns back right here to the right, and just looks like a $500,000 winner right there. The only thing, I mean, I know we'll eventually get that bull, but I keep saying, you know, if we try to take him to rider events right now, they'll never get out on him, you know. I mean, of course, one thing we can tie him down and snug him down and do all that stuff, but we just got our work cut out for us. But we had our work cut out for us to get to the $500,000, which I never thought we would get to, and him win it like he did. So, hey, all we can do is keep pushing forward with ZY He's Twisted.
Yeah.
And he's, as far as I'm concerned, he's worth every penny because he's earned his way here at this ranch.
Yeah, he looked great. And Billy, maybe you could just explain to us, and I was talking while you guys were getting ZY ready in the box, what a tremendous effort the training staff puts into this bull. Maybe you could just take us through the scenario of exactly what you were doing with ZY He's Twisted while you were getting him ready.
Well, once I seen they weren't going to be able to get him, and he was just getting worse and worse, I just took a flank rope, it's all I had back there, and I tied it around his horn and pulled it down, and then I got me a couple of wraps around the chute, and then every time, I had it pretty loose, but every time he would jump at me, I could suck it up and get it tighter. And once I finally got him where I could hold him tight, then he couldn't fight too much. But I'm going to tell you, at Buck Day and Barbecue, for those y'all that were here, right over in this corner, that bull jumped the fence, hung his leg through the pipe. He shouldn't even be with us. I mean, he literally, you hear about people that beat cancer. This bull has beat death time and time again. What a story, for him to go on and do what he's done. And normally, I told the guys, I said, I ain't helping tonight. It's all on y'all, but sometimes you just got to bail in there when a bull's just throwing that big of a fit. And every time they'd set that dummy down, them legs down, he'd kick and buck, which he's always done. But hopefully, we'll work with him, Michelle, Teresa, and Jimmy, and Chris, and try to get him settled down. He looked like a 90-point bull there once we got him out.
Got another question that came in, Billy, and this question, they said that they were not a customer of EG, but heard you mention that the Champions Tour concludes in April, and they wanted to know between then and the $1 Million Bucking Bull Championship, where do these bulls compete?
That's an excellent question, and actually the majority of them won't compete anywhere. They'll compete right here or at other trainers' facilities. We'll just keep them kind of in condition, buck them once a month, once every 2 months or whatever. If they're the cream of the crop, then they'll go to open futurity events. They'll go to ABBI events, UBBI events, MBBA events, and try to win money at those. Sometimes an owner even say, I know my bull probably didn't have a chance at that event, but I want to keep him with some experience, keep him going. But typically that's what that Champions Tour does. It gets these bulls used to it. Then we let them just mature some through the summer. And Jeff, you're really not talking that much time because we'll finish up at the end of April. You'll take May, June, and July, kind of 3 months off there, buck them once or twice here at the house, and then we'll usually have a preliminary sometime in August or September. So, but great question.
Yeah, so that's a good. We still have time if you want to text in a question, 956-874-8093, 956-874-8093. We've had some outstanding questions text in tonight. Still might have another little break where we could take a couple more questions, so text them on in.
One thing while we could talk, we talked about the BUDRO class, but while we're waiting, they're just about ready back here. They had to get the rope off ZY's head. If you have a futurity bull this year, keep in mind if you hadn't already, get your nomination paid for the Academy of Country Music Awards. It goes up again February the 1st. It was $1,000 before the gold buckle. It's $1,500 now, and it goes up to $2,000 after February 1st. So you want to get that nomination fee paid so that you can qualify. We hope that all of y'all will be here February the 14th, February the 15th, here in Orchard, Texas at our ranch. We're going to host the first Champions Tour this year on Friday night right over here in our pavilion. We're going to have fajitas. We're going to have some cold drink. We're going to have a Calcutta. We're going to have a good Valentine's Day. Make your Valentine's sweetheart come here and spend it at Orchard at the James Gang Ranch. And then Saturday morning, we're going to buck bulls all day long. We're going to buck underdog bulls. We're going to buck champion bulls. We're going to buck experienced bulls. We even have our EFL competition, our first EFL competition for our EFL owners, exclusive futurity league. They'll be competing, and they may be, some of you that got the better bulls, you may be getting some calls from some of them EFL owners to use your bull score on their team. And we have some EFL team franchise available. You don't even have to own a bull to own an EFL franchise. So take a look at that on our website. Fire away the emails or the questions. If you have a question, text Kara, and we'll come answer them for you in a minute. Are we ready, guys? We're ready. So our next bull, Jeff, as I walk back there, is going to be old Jackrabbit.
Jackrabbit coming up next, owned by Knopfsinger, Wilson, Palmgren, and Minchin, Houdini Twisted Lady. Jackrabbit, Billy Jane's pretty much a disappointment at the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship. This is a bull with a lot of raw talent. 22nd place finish, though, $7,500 check.
Yeah, I thought this bull was a for sure shoe-in to be a top 10 bull, and he finished like 14th and didn't get in there. He's been, the last 6 months of this year, 3 or 4 months, he's been right here in the gate every single time. Every time. He's like automatic. You know, one bull we never worried about. And out there, he went about 4 jumps and spun to the right, which he's never done. So we'll see what's going to happen. It won't surprise me like Hujo and the others. He's probably going to spin right here in the gate. And, you know, we don't really know what. There was 4 or 5 of them bulls out there that just totally misfired, and unfortunately they can't tell us, Jeff. They can't talk to us and say, hey, I got the flu while I was out there. I felt like crud when I was bucking. But I'm sure like people, they don't feel, you know, like last week I didn't feel very good and probably wasn't on my A game either. Well, some of these bulls, you know, it got really, really cold up on that mountain in Logandale where they were staying, and some of these bulls may have just not been feeling well the day they bucked. But I'm looking for Jackrabbit to be his old self and be right here. He's another Houdini bull. He's a full brother to ZY. He's Twisted, and he's a bull that's going to be a good-sized bull, and I think going to be a great, great cowboy bull.
So Jackrabbit coming up next. Billy talking about Las Vegas and the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship, and talking about the Academy of Country Music in Las Vegas, where we have our Champions Tour finale. Last year, the Academy of Country Music experience took place outside of the Orleans Hotel. All kinds of vendors, great food, and most importantly, a lot of good country western singing and entertainment on stages there. And right in the heat of all that activity taking place was the exclusive Genetic Arena, where we held the Champions Tour finale. The announcement is not official. Well, let's take a look at Jackrabbit. Whoa here, Jackrabbit.
I mean, that just makes you sick.
You look at Jackrabbit, he's staying like so there, and you didn't have any faith in me after the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes you absolutely sick from an owner's perspective, from the novice singer's perspective, from Ed and Parker Minchin and Mike and Charlotte Wilson. Where was that Jackrabbit in Las Vegas right there? I mean, and you talk about an outstanding cowboy bull right there, getting in the air, kicking, turning back. I mean, that's a bull they can be 90 on and showboating too. I mean, all I can tell him is I'm sorry. I wish I knew what was wrong with him that day, because my mouth was open as much as theirs.
So that was Jackrabbit. Knopfsinger's look like they have another great cowboy bull coming their way. Knopfsinger's, of course, owners of the great Captain.
Yeah, Jeff, the next bull we're going to bring in is almost the exact story as Captain out there. Mao Jan, this bull was like a bull you could count on no matter where you bucked him, where he went, never got upset, gate open, turns back right here. At the top 25, he goes across. He's never, ever done it in his life, ever. I mean, Jackrabbit had done it early in his life, but not lately. This bull, from the time we started bucking him, had been turning back right here. And the one day that he needed to not buck, he decided to not have his day. But I'm looking for Mao Jan to be his old self, be right here in the gate today. But we're going to bring him in here and see. Here comes old Mao Jan, the yellow jersey.
Milo Jan, son of Little Yellow Jacket, brown-eyed girl, owned by Gary and Lori Forche of Scottsdale, Arizona, and Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. As mentioned, 21st place finish, very disappointing out in the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship, $7,500 winner there. And again, Milo Jan with all the talent in the world, co-champ along with ZY, He's Twisted, at the Champions Tour finale at the Academy of Country Music last year. And I was just talking about the Academy of Country Music and how last year their experience took place at the Orleans Hotel. Big announcement coming shortly about exactly where the experience will be held this April. And
Jeff, I just got a text from someone that says Jackrabbit is a powerhouse.
Pretty amazing what texting does these days. All people watching the show, you don't have to make a phone call in. You could just text a question in. Billy taking texts up behind the chute. And Cara Heil's just freezing. She's just hoping we get past these last few bulls in quick order and can close up the announcer stand here. So Milo Jan. Milo Jan, as many of you exclusive genetic regulars know, means yellow jacket, and that's the jacket that, jersey, excuse me, yellow jersey, and that's the jersey that the round winners win in the Tour de France. Each day, each section, the yellow jacket is awarded, and of course with little yellow jacket as the sire, some real creative naming there by the fourchets of this bull, Milo Jan. So Gary and Lori and their partners at Two Pair Bucking Bulls a little earlier in the evening had the opportunity to see who's special do so well here with the BUDRO on his back for the first time. We'll see how Milo Jan performs in just a couple of seconds.
He'll perform. Well, he bucked. Unfortunately, BUDRO there didn't want to come off. He wanted to ride a while, but you know that bull never quit. He got a little tired at the end, but he never gave it up. That's a stud little bull right there, and that's the bull that we needed out in Vegas that we didn't get.
So Milo Jan, once again at BUDRO, getting hung up on Milo, but he didn't miss a beat. And once the BUDRO came off, Milo looking no worse for the wear. Still have It's Not for Dinner to go, and I think that'll be the last bull.
No, we got one more bull. We got It's Not for Dinner, and we think the dummy's fine. Sometimes it just doesn't transmit good, but we've been clicking ever since we picked up. It's been clicking good. We're testing the charge to make sure the charge is fine.
So It's Not for Dinner is going to be coming up next, owned by Skip and Linda Johnston out of Fairbanks, Alaska, and Brad and Tony Ramir, Pandora's Box, Crystal Pistol. You want to talk about a bull that just had a consistent event in, event out consistency last year. Was It's Not for Dinner. Finishing in the top 10, good sixth-place finish at the $1 Million Bucking Bull Championship, $24,000 check for the Ramirs and the Johnstons. And once again, It's Not for Dinner. Just showed tremendous consistency in 2013, and we'll see shortly if that's going to continue into his 3-year-old year.
We're going to buck him, Jeff. We're going to just put a little bit of charge on the dummy. It still was good charge. It's 12.8. We like it to be 12.6 or higher, but we're going to put a little extra juice on it just to be safe before we buck It's Not for Dinner. And what I thought would be good to talk about right here before we buck this final bull, Jeff, is, you know, National Bucking Bull Day. I mean, this is groundbreaking, you know, what we're going to be doing. And out in Las Vegas, first time ever, we're going to be hosting the first ever National Bucking Bull Day. One bull is going to compete against 4 other bulls. There's going to be 5 bulls competing at our Champions Tour finale out there that are 4 open bulls and $1 million bull, and one bull is going to win $70,000 on National Bucking Bull Day out there in Las Vegas.
So to get to National Bucking Bull Day, really the road to National Bucking Bull Day will start at Sycamore Springs Ranch in Locust Grove, Oklahoma on March the 8th. So how do you earn that ticket to get to Las Vegas?
Well, what we're doing is we wanted to create some divisions, and the first division is going to be exclusive genetics only division. And let me, as we've been talking about tonight, entry fees, nomination fees, and I know there's a lot of those, but I want to make sure you understand this. You can go, if you have an EG bull, you can go to Sycamore Springs, Locust Grove, Oklahoma, pay the normal $1,000 and compete just like you do at every Champions Tour. Nothing's changed. But if you think you have a bull that can be the best bull there, you pay an additional $2,850, and you and 199 other bulls are going to compete, but you are only going to compete against 50 exclusive genetics bulls, and it's going to pay 5 monies that day. If you're the best bull on the preliminary at Sycamore Springs, you're going to win $30,000. I think 5th place is $5,000, but second's like 30. Do we have?
Yeah, it's 30, 25 for second, 20 for third, 15 for fourth, $5,000 if you finish 5th.
So that's the payout for the preliminary, okay? And then so we'll have 5 EG bulls that's going to win that money on top of their Champions Tour money that they win. Now, we're going to take 150, and the books are open now, and if you wait till past January 31st, they may already be full, or you have to pay an additional $500 late fee. So if you have an open bull out there, you can enter the National Buck and Bull Day preliminary. Once we get all the entries in, Jeff, we're going to regionalize those entries. It might be we just draw a line down the middle of the United States. It might be that we take all the Oklahoma entries, put them in one division, all the Texas entries, put them in one division, and everybody else. We don't know exactly till we get the entries in, but we're going to have 3 divisions of 50 bulls. And each of those divisions will pay that same payout, $30,000, $25,000, 15,000, 10,500, something like. I don't have the screen in front of me.
20, 15, 5.
Yeah, and so then what we'll do is, so in other words, we're going to buck 200 bulls at our Champions Tour number 2. The winning bull from each division, let's say the winning bull in Division 2 he might be 85 points. In Division 3, the winning bull might be 88, the second might be 87, the third might be 86. But if he got lucky and got in a division that was a little bit easier and he wins that division, he advances to National Buck and Bull Day in Las Vegas during the Academy of Country Music Awards, and we're working on some stuff with some country music singers to have them out there. So we're going to take the winner of each division. There's 4 divisions. We'll take 4 winners, and then whatever the best second place bull score is, he gets invited to. No additional entry fee. If you make one of those 5 spots, you get to come to Vegas and look at this payout. With 4 divisions, $70,000 for first. What is it, Jeff? I can't read it.
$70,000 for first, 20 for second, 15 for third, $7,500 for the 4th and 5th place finishers. And once again, as Billy Jane's mentioning, only 5 bulls going to be competing for that money in Las Vegas.
Yeah, so if you go out there and finish in 5th, you're still going to win $7,500. So basically, you won $30,000 at the preliminary and $7,500 out there. So every bull that makes the National Buck and Bull Day top 5 showdown, the minimum that bull is going to win is $37,500, and the first place bull is going to win a nice $100,000. The theory is, we have a public relations firm, Powerhouse Public Relations out of New York, and they said if you're going to grow this injury and if you're going to go to get out to the national media and get the national media covering it, you need to be in a national place like Oklahoma City, Denver, Houston, or Las Vegas, and you need to bring in the best bulls in the world and let them compete for a lot of money. To be in the national media, we don't need to buck 100 bulls that day to show them what we do. We need to buck 5 really good ones and pay those 5 really good ones a lot of money. So that's the whole concept behind National Buck and Bull Day. We are on a mission to grow the industry. We've got another big announcement coming up soon about something we're going to start. But that National Buck and Bull Day, we believe, is going to bring hundreds, if not thousands, of new people and new fans and new buck and bull enthusiasts to our industry. So I'm going to ease on back, Jeff. The dummies should be getting charged up good here. It doesn't take long, and we're going to buck It's Not for Dinner.
All right, so the final bull coming up once again. It's Not for Dinner. And I've seen 8 really good BUDRO performances so far this evening. We'll see if we can make it 9 for 9 with It's Not for Dinner. If there's any bull as I mentioned, from the way he performed in his 2-year-old year, that should round out the 9 as all 9 good bucks tonight. That's It's Not For Dinner, who showed such great consistency last season. 6th place, $24,000 in the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship as he enters the chute. Once again, next Tuesday evening, 7 o'clock Central Time, EG Radio over the Blog Talk Radio Network. Go to www.exclusivegenetics.com and click on a link there, and that'll take you to Blog Talk Radio. Or if you're on Facebook, we'll be embedding a player into Facebook so you can hear that show. All those shows also, if you go to Blog Talk Radio and you put in EG Radio, all those shows are archived, and we're really excited about the response we've gotten to EG Radio. Literally thousands of people have listened to the first 3 or 4 broadcasts, and we look for that audience to keep on increasing. We thank our good friend Keno Shrum out at Humps and Horns, official publication of Exclusive Genetics, for all the work he's done bringing us some great guests. Last month it was, I think it was Chris Shivers last month. Well, a couple of months ago we took a month off because of our trip to Las Vegas for the Buck and Bull games. And I haven't had a chance to speak to Keno, who see who the featured guest is going to be next Tuesday, but I'm sure he's going to come up with somebody great. Chris Shivers talking about mini bull riders and mini Buck and Bull program, and they just had a successful show. They performed pretty much right after us in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Convention Center after we did the $1 Million Buck and Bull and Rider tournament. A little break there, and then the mini bulls came in. Chris Shivers just doing a great job with that association, and certainly happy that Chris had the opportunity to hang out behind the chutes with us at a number of the sessions of the $1 Million Buck and Bull and Rider tournament. So last bull out, It's Not For Dinner, getting ready to buck.
You reckon Skippy's all bundled up there in Alaska in front of his computer, him and Linda?
I think so. Might be out there ice fishing. Maybe you got one of those little ice fishing huts there and have the battery power going on the computer and a little remote internet connection. I wonder if Skippy wears one of those hats with the flaps down the side and the fur guy. I don't know. Kara Heil's getting a little creative now as the evening wears on with her camera work. Skip and Linda Johnston, Brad and Tony Ramirez, It's Not For Dinner.
He looked pretty doggone good to me. Ken looked like why he was a top 25 bull. Big bull there out of Pandora's Box and Crystal Pistol. Another bull that the Cowboys are going to absolutely love. And, Jeff, what really excites me, is in the future where we can go with this $1 million bull and rider tournament. I mean, with these bulls that are coming out of our program, we're going to be able to go to cities and put on bull riding only events with just nothing but Exclusive Genetics $1 million bulls. And every bull that comes out of the gate is going to be a bull that on the small sides won $25,000 or $30,000, and several that's won over $100,000, and a few that's won $500,000. And when you can get to an event and buck bulls of this quality and talk about winnings of that magnitude against great cowboys, to me, that sells tickets, and that's what people are going to want to see, and that's what's going to make people want to own these bulls too, is just watching the entire journey, as we call it, the journey of a lifetime, from the time he's a baby to the time he's a futurity bull to the time he's BUDRO to the time he moves on to the $1 Million Bull and Rider tournament. Jeff, that's all I got tonight. I don't know what else you got to close with, but we ran a little long. It takes a little longer with this BUDRO and us getting used to it. We appreciate all of y'all joining us. As always, if you have any questions, shoot us an email, shoot us a text, whatever you want to do, give us a call on the phone, and we'll be happy to help you and answer all your questions about the buck and bull industry.
Yeah, so once again, I mirror what Billy Jane said. Thank you for joining us. Thank all of those that texted in questions, and that's going to become a regular feature on both Pop the Latch and EG Dirt. We'll give you the opportunity to text in any questions if you have. So until next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, we go to the radio side, EG Radio on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Jeff Bressler for Billy Janes, wishing you a good evening.